I refused to lend my pressure washer to my neighbor's cousin. A day later, my house siding was spray painted, my camera wires were cut, and my water meter was tampered with. I stayed quiet until I found a lost flash drive in my bushes. I live in a suburb outside Columbus, Ohio. Middle-class neighborhood. People keep their yards neat, wave when they walk their dogs. Nothing fancy, but it's the kind of place where you know most of the faces. I've lived here almost 2 decades. My kids grew up on this street. It's not perfect, but it's home. My neighbor Greg moved in about 3 years ago. He bought the house next door after his divorce. At first, he seemed like a decent guy. He'd come over for cookouts, helped me shovel once during a bad snowstorm. We weren't close, but we got along. That's what made this whole thing sting even more. A couple weeks ago, Greg came over while I was coiling up my garden hose after cleaning my driveway. He stood at the edge of my lawn like he was in a hurry. "Hey, you got a sec?" he said. "Sure. What's up?" "My cousin's in town helping me clean out my aunt's place," he said. "She passed a while back and the place is a mess. We need to blast the siding, wondering if we could borrow your pressure washer for the weekend." I didn't even hesitate. "Sorry, I don't lend that out anymore." He blinked, a little surprised. "Come on, it's just for a day." "No offense, man," I said, "but last time I lent it out, it came back with a cracked hose and the oil cap gone. Took me weeks to fix it." "It's not me, though. It's my cousin," he said. "He knows what he's doing." I shook my head. "Doesn't matter. I made a rule for myself after the last time. No more lending tools. Hope you understand." He smiled, but there was something off in it. Tight. Forced. "Yeah, sure. Got it." Then he just turned and walked away. No small talk. Nothing. That night, I noticed he didn't look my way when I waved. It wasn't a big deal, but I could feel the change in his energy. Something cold. I figured he'd get over it. But the next morning, I walked out to get the paper and my heart just dropped. The entire left side of my house had been vandalized. Big red spray paint streaks across my beige siding. The word prick scrawled in all caps right under the kitchen window. It looked like it was done in a rush, but with purpose. It wasn't random tagging. It was personal. I ran inside to check the camera footage. I had 3 cameras, 2 over the garage and 1 above the side gate. None of them were working. When I went out to inspect, I saw that all 3 wires had been sliced. Clean cuts. I felt sick. Whoever did this knew where the wires were. That meant it was someone who'd been close enough to notice. Someone who'd studied the setup. Later that day, I noticed my water pressure was low. I thought maybe something was wrong with the main line. Called the city. A technician came out, looked at the meter, and told me someone had forced open the lid and broken the tamper seal. Said I should file a report. That's when everything hit me. Someone was screwing with my house on purpose. The paint, the cameras, the meter, it wasn't random. It was retaliation. And the only person I'd pissed off recently was Greg. I didn't confront him. I wanted to. I stared at his house for an hour that night, pacing. But I've worked in risk assessment for 23 years. You don't take action without something to back it up. Emotion clouds good decisions. Instead, I called an old friend of mine who installs low-voltage systems. Told him what happened and asked him to set me up with new hidden cameras. Tiny ones, hidden under eaves and built into fixtures. Ones you wouldn't even think to look for. I started documenting everything. Kept a small notebook in my truck where I jotted down anything odd. Strange cars, people walking by too slow, Greg's movements. I kept it low-key. I didn't want to spook him. 3 days later, I was trimming the front bushes, trying to keep my mind occupied. That's when I saw something shiny half buried in the mulch. It was a flash drive. Cheap, plastic, the kind you get free at conferences. I almost tossed it, thinking maybe one of the neighbor's kids dropped it. But something told me to plug it in. I went inside, booted up my old laptop with antivirus, and stuck it in. There were 2 files. One was a Word document titled Paint Plan. The other was a video file. No title, just a timestamp. I opened the video. It was grainy, like it was recorded on a cheap phone. Greg was standing in his garage, holding a can of red spray paint and pointing at a printed photo of my house. Next to him was a younger guy, tall, white hoodie, maybe late 20s. They were laughing. "I'm telling you," Greg said in the video, "this prick needs to learn what no gets you." The rest of the footage was shaky. Them packing things into a bag, wire cutters, gloves, another can of spray paint. My stomach turned. And that's when it hit me. Greg didn't just get mad. He plotted. He involved someone else. He thought he could intimidate me and get away with it. I had what I needed now. Real proof. But I wasn't going to the cops. That'd be too clean. Too easy. Greg took something from me that night. My sense of security, the peace I had in my own home. I wasn't just going to get justice. I was going to ruin him. And I was going to take my time doing it. After I saw that video, I didn't sleep right for days. My hands would shake just brushing my teeth. Every little sound outside made me jump. I didn't tell anyone, not my coworkers, not my brother, not even my daughter when she called to check in. I didn't want anyone talking me out of what I knew I had to do. Greg wasn't just some idiot who lost his temper. He planned this. With his cousin, apparently. He vandalized my home, cut my security, and tampered with city utilities like it was a game. He was proud of it, laughing in the video like a teenager pulling a prank. I started my own plan. First, I quietly copied the video and document to 3 places: cloud backup, USB stick, and an encrypted folder on a spare hard drive. I wasn't going to lose that evidence. Then I started watching him. Every day, I logged when he left, who came by, what truck parked in his driveway. His cousin, the guy from the video, showed up again about a week later. Same hoodie. I made a note of his plates and even grabbed some shots from my hidden camera as he walked past my mailbox. But here's where things turned. I noticed Greg got paranoid too. He started checking under his truck at night with a flashlight. Put new motion lights up over his garage. He knew I was quiet. Too quiet. He started playing little games. One day, I came home and found a greasy handprint on my back door. Just one, right over the doorknob. The next, my trash bin was flipped and the lid was cracked. I didn't react. Didn't say a word. But I kept recording. Everything. Then came the fake complaint. A week after I found the flash drive, I got a call from the city. Someone had filed a report claiming I was operating a business out of my home, power washing other people's homes without permits. Total lie. I told the inspector exactly what was going on and he just nodded. Honestly, we've had 3 anonymous complaints about your address this month. We're not taking any action, but just so you're aware. Greg was trying to bury me under fake paperwork now. I started digging. I ran a private records search on Greg's name through an old contact in legal compliance. Turns out, Greg had a suspended license in Michigan and unpaid fines for code violations on a past rental. So I waited until a Sunday, when his cousin's truck was parked overnight. I took photos of them unloading what looked like construction gear: hoses, solvents, paint buckets. My town has strict rules on operating businesses from residential properties, especially if you're storing chemicals. I wrote up a formal complaint, with pictures, with license plate numbers, with dates. I didn't send it yet. I was still collecting more. Every time Greg or his cousin stepped onto my lawn, even to turn around, I logged it. And then, one night around 2 a.m., I heard my gate click. I was already up, couldn't sleep. I killed the lights, moved to the back window, and watched. It was the cousin again. Hoodie on. He walked across my yard like he owned the place. Didn't knock. Didn't speak. He went straight for my shed. That's when I hit record. He tried the door, found it locked, then circled back and disappeared toward Greg's yard. 10 minutes later, I checked the camera feed. I had him. Clear as day. That was my green light. Greg thought this was over a pressure washer. But by now, it was about respect. It was about the sick feeling I had every time I looked at the red spray stain still ghosted on my siding. About how I didn't feel safe in my own damn home. I was going to flip the script. But first, I needed to find out one thing. Why was that flash drive in my bushes in the first place? Because that wasn't an accident. Someone wanted me to find it. After I caught the cousin creeping around my shed, I felt a shift inside me. The fear was still there, but underneath it was something colder. Focused. I wasn't reacting anymore. I was hunting. But that flash drive never left my mind. How the hell did it end up in my bushes? Greg didn't drop it. He wouldn't be that careless. And if he'd wanted to taunt me, he would have made sure I knew it was from him. So I did what I should have done the moment I found it. I looked closer. I opened the Word document again, but this time I looked at the metadata. Date created. Date modified. Author tag. The author field said, T. Maddox. I didn't know a T. Maddox, but something about the name rang a faint bell. I started going back through old HOA meeting notes, which I had saved in a folder from my time on the board. Sure enough, 2 years ago, Greg tried to get approval to run outdoor cleaning services from his property. It was denied. The meeting notes listed a Tyler Maddox as one of his references. The guy never showed, and Greg's application was rejected. I did a public search. Tyler Maddox, age 28, one minor arrest in Franklin County for disorderly conduct, works odd jobs under different LLC names. And he had a listed address in town about 6 blocks away. I didn't do anything right away. Just watched. Then, about a week later, I saw him. Tyler, the cousin. He pulled up to Greg's house in a different truck. Alone. This time, he wasn't wearing a hoodie. I watched him walk into the garage with a duffel bag and stay there for almost an hour. And something about his body language struck me. He wasn't confident. He kept looking over his shoulder. Twitchy. Nervous. That night, I found a manila envelope under my front doormat. Inside was a folded-up piece of paper with just 3 things written on it. Wasn't my idea, he made me do it. He is worse on me, no name. No signature. But I knew it was from Tyler. Suddenly the flash drive made sense. He planted it. He wanted to back out of whatever mess Greg pulled him into, but he didn't know how. He gave me just enough rope to tie Greg up and maybe protect himself in the process. It changed everything. Greg wasn't just petty. He was dangerous. Manipulative. He used this younger guy, likely with dirt on him, to do his dirty work. And now the guy was cracking under pressure. I started to wonder, what, worse, did Greg have on Tyler? So I did more digging. Through business registry searches, I found out Greg and Tyler co-signed a lease 3 years ago for a rental property just outside town. The place had since been foreclosed. County records showed multiple fines, code violations, illegal dumping, and one note marked chemical discharge, EPA referral. That's when it hit me. Greg wasn't just trying to scare me. He was trying to cover up something. Something that could ruin both him and Tyler if the wrong eyes looked too close. And I was the wrong eyes. So now I had evidence of the vandalism, footage of attempted break-ins, a fake city complaint trail, and a possible EPA-level violation tied to his name. But I needed one last piece. I needed Greg to do something that crossed the final line. Something I could shove in front of the right person and make sure he didn't walk away from it this time. I knew how to bait him. And Tyler was going to help me, whether he liked it or not. After that envelope showed up, I knew I had my opening. Tyler was scared. Greg had something on him, something bad, but he was looking for a way out. And I was going to give it to him, while making damn sure Greg paid for everything he'd done. I didn't confront Tyler directly. I mailed a burner phone to the address listed under his name. No note. Just the phone. A day later, it rang. I don't want to get in trouble, he said, his voice shaky. I didn't do the paint part. Just helped him cut the wires. You're already in trouble, Tyler, I said. But you can decide what kind. He didn't hang up. Over the next few days, we talked. Tyler was a mess. Greg had been using him for years. Made him sign leases, dump waste behind vacant properties, even threatened to report him for probation violations if he ever bailed. And that pressure washer thing? That was just the spark. Greg thought I was a soft target. That if he scared me enough, I'd roll over. He didn't realize I was the one person in this neighborhood with a full paper trail, quiet connections, and a long memory. I gave Tyler one job. On a Thursday morning, he walked into the local zoning office and requested a permit record search on Greg's home and prior rental business. Nothing suspicious about it. He was listed on those records too. But what he really gave them was a USB drive loaded with every video, photo, and document I'd compiled. Labeled with dates, times, incident reports, and matched against Greg's fake complaints against me. I didn't know it at the time, but that flash drive would end up being reviewed not just by zoning, but also by code enforcement, environmental health, and a detective with the local PD who specialized in property fraud. Within 3 weeks, Greg's house was raided. They didn't find anything explosive, but they found enough, unregistered chemicals, falsified documents for permit applications, and emails tying him to multiple fake business filings using other people's names. Tyler's included. Greg was arrested for fraud, tampering with city equipment, and property damage. The vandalism was the cherry on top. With the camera footage and Tyler's confession, it was a clean case. When they took him away, I watched from my porch. He didn't even look surprised. Just angry. Like the game hadn't gone his way. Tyler got probation and community service. He's working at a legitimate auto shop now, trying to keep his nose clean. I don't like him, but I understand what it's like to be cornered by someone more manipulative than you or brave. As for me, I replaced my siding. Rewired every camera. Got a call from the city personally apologizing for the hassle. Greg's house sat empty for months. Eventually, it sold to a retired couple from Indiana. I met them the first week they moved in. Nice folks. I didn't mention the history. Some ghosts don't need to be passed down. But every time I see my pressure washer in the shed, sitting there clean and untouched, I remember. It wasn't about the tool. It was about control. Greg thought he could take that from me. Instead, I took everything from him.